Honey, we had an agreement with the kids that whenever there would be social events at the house, that everyone would clean, and that would be like the first thing that happened. So whatever people were there, they would clean, the kids would clean, and so on and so forth. And this weekend, their birthday party was there, and it wasn't cleaned up that night. It wasn't cleaned the next day. And even when I brought it to everyone's attention, it wasn't cleaned again. And it's kind of frustrating for me because I don't understand. It's just we've been down the road, we've discussed it, we agreed what we were going to do, and it doesn't seem like there's any enforcement around it or any not a high enough accountability for the kids to actually do what they said they were going to do. So how I'm left feeling is very just kind of disrespected, and that nobody really cares. And so I find myself vacuuming, cleaning, saying it's okay, and for me it's really not okay, but I don't know what else to do about it.
Okay. Okay, so what I hear you say is that we had an agreement that when the kids had their friends over and had parties or get-togethers, that it would be their responsibility to clean up afterwards and do their part, and it was an agreement that we all had. And this past weekend, they had the surprise birthday party, and you are frustrated that the next day that it wasn't really cleaned up. I mean, they made an attempt, but they didn't really clean it up.
Or that night.
Or that night, right. So you're frustrated by the fact that they didn't really keep their word and do the cleanup that was expected. And there was no accountability, kind of. There was no, I forgot the word you used, not punishment, but not a reprimanding of it, and you're just left frustrated and disrespected because we all had this agreement and they didn't live up to their end of it. So, I just hear you say that you're really frustrated.
Yeah. And
you really just feel disrespected because, you're not expecting anything more than what was agreed upon.
But there was more that I didn't share, is that I'm frustrated with you also because I haven't heard you really try to make them do what they said they were going to do. So part of my frustrations with you also is not having them actually do it and tell them they need to do it. So I didn't share that. Okay.
So you're also frustrated with me because you don't feel like that I enforced it, that I did anything about it afterwards when they didn't do what they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
And you also said that you were the one left cleaning it up afterwards, later in the weekend, that it became your responsibility. And so I did hear you say that you were left to do the work, and you're upset with me also because I didn't address it with them. So yeah. What you've seen, right? That I didn't address it with them and talk to them about their responsibility level, and even, again, have some kind of impact about it, some kind of, impact on their end, that they were left with them not being able to, if they couldn't be responsible, maybe they shouldn't have functions at the house. So you would like some kind of follow through.
Yeah.
And you don't see that I did anything like that?
It didn't seem that way.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Now, we're going to switch roles, and I'm going to rave Angie next. And men, this is really hard for a lot of us, or I want you to consider that a lot of us wear a filter to where we think we hear him say something, or we get hooked by something, so we quit listening. So guys, it's harder for us to do this with the emotional thing. One thing I had to notice about myself when I was doing the rave is my choice of my words towards my wife, because I guess in the past I would have said things like, now you know darn well they're not supposed to have any more get-togethers if they don't clean up, and here we go again. Same thing, and nobody acts like it's a big deal, and we have the same issue over and over and over, and because we don't be our word, our kids keep doing the same things. And I could get mad, I could get angry, and that's the way I used to handle things in the past.
And on the same hand, as the listener, I have got all my defenses going on, that he doesn't really know the whole story, that, I've got my point of view too. And if I'm more concerned and committed to being right and proving my point and having myself be heard over trying to listen to him, then, again, that's what most of us do. And you can see, as how it's shown up in most of our lives, that does not work. If it's dirty fighting, if I, play confused, if I, be defensive, if I do any of the things other than listening, then I'm not doing the tool right. Okay. Or if he's blaming me and attacking me and accusing me and pointing his finger and being overreactive, then he's not doing it right. So. Yeah.
And again, notice we held hands even through the tough stuff. So and then I thanked her. I may not have gotten everything I want. Maybe nothing changed, nothing was different, but she listened, even if I was wrong.
Yeah. And the tool is not to do that at this point. The tool is not to fix anything. It's not to really work it out. It really is just the gift of being heard, the gift of being listened to.
Yeah. So if you consider I'm giving my spouse a gift, and the gift is I'm just going to repeat, affirm, and validate their feelings, and I'm going to care about it. Whether I agree with it or not, this is not about agreement. It's just I care enough about my spouse to give them this gift. So this is a gift, and how do we treat gifts normally? You don't buy yourself roses for your wife and then smash them down and beat them up and crunch them and break them and then say, here's your roses. No, a gift is a gift. You handle it with ease and care and honor and, the way a gift should be presented. So that's an easy way to look at this.
And you don't take a gift back either. When you give it to you, don't take it back. So when I agree to do a rave with Don, when I agree to sit and listen to him, then I'm giving him that gift and I can't take it back. As soon as I get upset or triggered about something, that I got to remember what I'm committed to, and the intentionality is the important part.
Now we were intentional in our rave. We're sitting down, we're doing the emotional openness, the physical closeness. But a lot of times you can rave across the room. Hey, what I heard you say was you're really upset that the Falcons are down by 7 points. I can see how that upset you. Whatever it is, you can rave someone anytime, any place. It doesn't require this. This just teaches you how to do it in a practice-controlled format. But the rave can continue, in different ways. So now I'm going to rave my wife, and for those of you that pray, you can pray for me now.
Okay. So I would like to share with you that I've actually just kind of had my feelings hurt because I feel like that you're just not sharing a lot of new information with me, that I am hearing things when you have conversations with people on the phone or even, text and stuff that I'm just not seeing. I mean, and I don't think that you're keeping things from me. It's just that I just have a more of a need for knowing details and hearing information and know what kind of things are going on out there in our lives. I realize I have a bigger need than you do on that, but it really does upset me that I feel like I don't know things unless I hear conversations, overhear a conversation, or if I read something, or so I have really been bothered lately that I just don't feel like you're sharing new information with me, the important details, and I know a lot of things you just don't think is important to me, but again, I just do have a higher need for the details and for what's going on with the other relationships in your life. And so I really feel like I've kind of been left out of the loop lately, so it leaves me feeling like I don't matter. A big thing too that it really makes me feel like I'm not prepared. So when I hear you share that we're doing something or going somewhere with someone else or something, it just makes me crazy, kind of on guard all of a sudden, because I feel like, when were you going to tell me, would I be prepared, why are you keeping it from me? So again, maybe a disrespect I feel too, but the biggest thing is just feeling like I'm not getting the information that I need for our lives. So.
Okay. So, what I heard you say was that lately you have felt like your feelings have been hurt because you haven't been receiving new information from me that you would like to get, and even though I don't sometimes pay attention to details, you do. And that they're affecting you being prepared and knowing things that you would like to know, and you're finding them out through conversations that aren't directed at you, and that hurts your feelings, and you feel disrespected. But most importantly is you really don't feel prepared, and because some things would require you to be prepared for whatever that information was, and this seems to have been happening a lot more lately.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, like I don't want to be an eavesdropper, but I'm just saying that's the only way I do hear things sometimes is if I'm walking through the kitchen and I hear you on the phone with someone else or something. And so I just feel like I'm not having the information I need to be prepared, for whatever it is. So again, I kind of feel bad that I'm just kind of like listening to your conversations and maybe thinking that eventually you're going to share that with me, and then you never do. And then I just kind of hold it against you, and I'm just hurt by that. I'm just hurt by that you don't, want to share it with me.
So you're hurt that you think I don't want to share it with you.
Yeah.
And that when you hear it in conversations or I'm on the phone with someone or whatever, that that bothers you, and it offends you when you're holding it against me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Now, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but my feathers were way up here just a minute ago. And that's what happens. We get hooked, right? Like, I could have pulled away real easy just then because I have this wound about myself that if I get accused of something that I haven't done or think that I haven't done, I get greatly offended by that. And so I have to be mature enough and I have to care enough about my wife to sit here and listen to her, even though I may not agree, even though I may not see it her way, even though the words that she said may not have truth according to me. I have to care that's how it is for her. So, I could give you my list of all the reasons why I do that, but I'm not going to do that for you. Okay, but we all have those, right? But what I want to make you aware of is this. This is why this is so important. Because we used to have things like this. We'd have conversations somewhat like this, and she'd repeat back to me, maybe with a louder tone, and I'd be pulled away, and there would be no physical contact, there would be no emotionally open, there was no commitment, there was no intentionality for me to actually listen to her. So what I would do is I'd start justifying, explaining myself, proving she's wrong. I'd give her lots of evidence and all the things that I used to do in the past.
And tell me all the things I did wrong.
Yeah, and tell her all the things she did wrong. And I was really good at it too, by the way, so that's another series. But I really want to let you know, like, this makes a difference. When I actually sit down, I listen to what Angie has to say, and I don't let myself get hooked. The way that you'll know you're hooked is when you can't repeat back what she says.
You're too busy listening to what's going on in your own head.
Yeah, you become a victim, and it's all about you. Remember, without goodwill, empathy, respect, and integrity, I have an agreement with my wife that this is the way I'm going to do it. And so I'm going to honor that agreement. Is it easy? This isn't about being easy.
Especially when you feel like you're, this was, a lot safer, a lot more emotionally stable conversation, but many times you'll actually want to think about using the R.A.V.E when you're in a big upset, because a lot of times, we just get, our partner just gets emotionally hijacked, or we get emotionally hijacked, and we're just triggered, and all of a sudden we're not being very responsible in our actions and our words, okay? And then as the other partner who's seeing that, we have a choice. That's where the intentionality comes in, because two wrongs will never, ever, ever make a right. So if my husband's triggered and upset about something, the best thing I can do for us is, even if I don't want to do it for him, but for us, I can be intentional to get into my thinking part of my brain and really listen to what's there for him. I know enough about him now to know that he's not really just, trying to be a bad guy, but that he really is hurt by something. And so that I really can start listening with empathy and, giving him that gift of being heard. But that, it's what it takes most of the time. That most of the time it's not two people sitting here calmly trying to share their feelings and they're upset. It is someone that really is emotionally upset, emotionally hooked and triggered at the time. And so the other person needs to say, hey, I can understand this is how you're feeling. I really hear what you're saying. I can understand, and and just really give them that gift of being heard. I mean, you don't have to agree with everything they're saying, but just that gift of being heard, that will make a difference.
And if you get hooked, do a timeout. Say, you know what, timeout. I got to recoup. I want to do this the way I said I was going to, but right now I'm not being my word. Be man enough or woman enough to say, hey, I'm not doing this the way it's designed. Give me just a moment. What you said just hooked me, and I really want to listen to you. Yeah. Okay, now that's maturity, all right? And that's a level that we want to go to, because we're going to get hurt. This exercise will be painful at times, but stay connected. If you get hooked, don't get in a fight about it. Just look at it yourself and say, hey, no, I gave my word. I'm going to do this the way it was designed. All right.
And I do want to share one other way to be able to powerfully use the tool is sometimes it isn't a bad thing that's trying to be discussed. And I'm just sharing from my example in our marriage. Don likes to share with me positive, upbeat things a lot of times, and I am so, like, you know, Porter has shared before, just task-oriented, and I'm focused on moving on to the next thing that I don't even get to appreciate the joys that he has, okay? So,
or shares just what I consider the negative side of something. I may share, hey, the sky is blue, and she might say, did you see that cloud?
Exactly. So again, the gift of being heard is the gift of being heard, whether it is something good or something bad. So I have to practice, and I still am practicing when my husband has something exciting to share with me, to be able to listen to him and repeat back, you know, some of that excitement to him and really get it, instead of just dismissing it and tell him 14 things that's wrong with it maybe. But I actually can acknowledge his joy and the happiness that he has, and he needs that from me. You know, he needs me not just to, you know, be practical and dissect something and tell them, you know, all the things that could be wrong with him, but just to share that joy too. I mean, the gift of being heard with the bad and with the good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.